The fast-moving Minnesota Vikings talk show, Viking Hot Takes. We've got Eric J. Thompson, we've got me, Flip Mozzie, and we've got the Vikings 18-week schedule to talk about. I'm not a big fan of it, but we'll get into why if you stay with us till the other side of the roll-in.
What's your take? Let's go a Viking. On Viking Hot Takes.
This. Oh, we're live. We're
Boom!
live?
Look at that. We're the
You're live.
fast moving show. We got a fast moving intro now. None of this 2 minutes getting
Short
warmed up. We are here.
and clean. I was
Yep, I
not
love it.
prepared for that, but hey, I always say, let's go to the fans joining in the comments. It's time to talk about the 2022 Minnesota Vikings schedule. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Of course, we've known the opponents for 2+ months. We know that the games aren't for at least another 4 months plus, sometimes longer, depending on when they are. But still, I love this day. I don't know why. It's dumb. The schedule release has been the NFL is making a day out of absolutely nothing. It's just the schedule. It's just the order of the games that we already knew were coming. But I still love it. I like putting it together. I feel like I'm in the Da Vinci Code every time this year. Okay, no, we got
You
this
keep
verified.
this
We got this
up.
rumor. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun distraction on a Thursday because the schedule, it's the worst kept secret in the NFL. Like this is like the legal, the whole day leading up to this is the legal tampering schedule. That like everyone knows by the time that it's actually released. Most, like the 14 or 15 of the games are all set. So but it's still fun. It's still fun to think about football. It's fun to start planning those road trips. Like we talked about it last week. Like, okay, we knew the London game before when we talked last week, but like now we have we're circling this for a road trip, or the Thanksgiving game. Oh my goodness, things like that. But it's again, it's much ado about nothing, but I still get excited about it because it's football news and we eat it up no matter what.
Yeah, well, like you said, Eric, it's a fast-moving show. 17 weeks, 17 games on 18 weeks. We got 20 minutes for 6 questions. So let's get into the first one to get this show started. So, question number one, I'm going to start, Eric, as Dave pulls up the schedule. Eric,
Hold on a
what?
second.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
You
Dave's
see,
fine.
you
He
see
he he
this
he beat himself
this
with the rolling. Like he was
intro.
too fast. Yep.
It was too fast. You get these people warmed up. Fans in
There
the
it is.
comments,
Okay.
thank you for staying with us. We've got the comments up now. We've got the schedule. Corey doesn't see a loss on it, but we've got 6 questions. Once Dave gets me with that timer, I'm going to start. You see, I like this. Purple home, yellow away. First question, Eric. What's the toughest stretch on the schedule?
Well, I think this is one of the first years in recent memory that I can think of, like where there isn't one that everyone can just universally circle, like a 4 week stretch where it's 3 out of 4 are on the road and it's all against former playoff teams or something like that. I think as far as that goes, this could mean there could be a stretch that we think is the easiest that turns out to be one of the toughest, and vice versa, depending on availability of star players, how much teams improve or get worse. And that the week 10 and week 11 stretch, I think that's a pretty tough one because you're at the Bills, who are going to be a Super Bowl contender this year, and the Cowboys, of course, who beat the Vikings at home last year with the backup. You think if they have Dak Prescott, it's going to be a tough game. They always play him tough. And then the Patriots after that, like that's. But then that kind of transitions into, like, we're going to talk about this a little later, but then you get a nice home stretch there too. So I think that's probably what stands out to me. But again, they're in finishing with two probably cold weather games against divisional opponents in the last 2 weeks. I think that's kind of a tough break too. I know we're all used to playing the Bears at home. I thought it was written into the NFL bylaws that the fact it was Bears at Chicago or Bears at Vikings the last week of the season. But I think those two stretches kind of jump out. The back-to-back road games. Or well, the Commanders don't worry me too much. The Carson Wentz, I'm not on that. But like the Bills and Cowboys and the finishing with the last two. Hopefully, the Week 18 game means something because it hasn't a couple times in recent history. But if it does mean something, that finishing at Lambeau, which is tough even when you don't have your backup quarterback in there, and finishing with at Chicago, which is it's been less of a house of horrors. I know that's the default. It's like, oh, at Soldier Field, that's a loss. That's been less true in the recent in years with the Vikings, but that's a really tough way to finish the schedule. But again, overall, you have the 9 home games, 7 away games, and 1 neutral game. So that's it. It's just nice to have where it's like you're not. It doesn't. Nothing jumps out to me where it's like, oh no, this is going to be a really tough schedule. I hope they can at least go 2-2. I think this is it. There are all decent stretches.
Yeah, yeah. For me, you kind of nailed the Bills, Cowboys, Patriots. That's week 10, week 11, week 12 on the road versus Buffalo. Then you come home for Cowboys and Patriots. It is good that 2 of those 3 games are at home. But like you've said, we've just had nightmares against the Cowboys and the Patriots. And the hardest game of the bunch is the Buffalo Bills. If you
Right.
go straightly by 2021 point differential, the toughest team in the league is the Bills. The second toughest team is the Cowboys, and I think the Patriots are like top 4. So right there, that's kind of what you're looking for me. Let's go to the next question.
All right. It's my first question's just flipping yours around. What's the easiest stretch of the schedule? I think something jumps out at me, but I'll let you go first.
It's right. I looked at that week 12 stretch or the week 13 stretch where we play the Jets, Detroit, and week 15. But you know who's an easier play than the Colts right now? It's the New Orleans Saints for me. And so I actually go to week
Ooh.
3. We're talking inside a weak NFC North division. And so the second thing I did after looking, honestly, the first thing I did when I looked at the schedule and I was looking for the easiest stretch, I was like, when do we play the Lions? That brings it down to two stretches right there. We play the Lions at home week 3. Then we go to London. It's not even a true road game. It is a lot of travel. And then you come back home to the Bears, which is interesting that we're not taking that week 5 bye like you talked
Yep.
about. You predicted that, Eric, last week. That's why y'all need to keep on watching Viking Hot Takes. It is a short week, or it is a normal week after a long set of travel, but you're a home game, so that kind of eases it up, and a
Right.
relatively uh, you know easy opponent there compared to the rest of the schedule. So for me, the easiest stretch is week 3, week 4, week 5.
Yeah, I think that's the again. I'd probably put that there just because I think it's 3 teams. It's a good time to play all 3 of those teams because I think all 3 of those teams are still going to be figuring things out at the beginning of the
Yeah.
season. The Vikings definitely have a lot of things to figure out as well, but you're looking at the Bears who are in pretty much rebuild around Justin Fields mode. The Saints who have Jameis and who knows who he's throwing to outside of Kamara out of the backfield. And yeah, like in the Lions, who are usually the Lions, who again, like I've already seen like our pal Eric Eager starting to talk like, well, they're plus 400 to make the playoffs this year. You never know, and they have. I just saw another thing with the Lions. They have the best schedule in the NFL as far as rest days. They don't have any negative rest days when they're upcoming opponents, and they have quite a few positive differences when they're playing their opponents week to week, which is always a nice little thing to have in your pocket. And the Packers have I think the most negative rest days, so that's always great too. But I just that the traveling, and again, I'm glad that they have the later bye. I still wish it was a little later than week 7, finishing with
Mm.
11 games. That's better than finishing with 13, like we were discussing last week. I'm glad that they elected to have the game right after that. But just the travel to and from a different continent with we're trying to keep everything on a weekly routine is going to be tough. And who knows, the Bears might be better than we expect. I have my doubts, but we'll see. I think the one that jumps out to me, you touched on it a little bit. I think that week 13 to 16 stretch. The Colts probably could be pretty tough. I think with Matt Ryan, I think they'll be a pretty solid overall team, and someone has to win the AFC South, so they'll probably be in playoff contention by then.
Right.
But the rest of that stretch, like having, I mean, that's the week 11 through week 16. Having 5 games at home out of 6 is outstanding. That's really great. I can't remember the last time the Vikings had that. That's probably just the benefit of having the 9 home games this season and being on the good side of that as compared to last year. But yeah, after the Cowboys and Patriots, if they can get out of that stretch, the toughest stretch that we discussed, that we both kind of agreed on, the Jets again, the Jets will have to be better eventually. You know, they had a really good draft by all accounts. They had the most draft capital. I think that's why they had the best draft by all accounts,
Right.
because they had so many picks and they got to pick so high. But I think that's probably the easier stretch for me. That 13 through 16. The Colts game could be tough, but at the Lions, if the Vikings don't trip over themselves, they should be good. And the Giants, I think they're a couple of years away too. So they might not have the quarterback answered. So I love all the 14-3, 6-0, then a bye. That's
Yeah.
that's the best part about this time of year. It's that's the Paul Allen tradition. Looking for that first loss in the schedule, and it's tough to see. All right, let's get to your
That's
next question.
that's true, and I love the fans adding their record predictions. Optimistic energy from the schedule release. That's exactly what we want. You know, we asked these questions before the schedule release. We asked these questions 2 days before the show, so we didn't know how many primetime games there would be.
Right.
When I am asking you, which primetime game gets you the most excited?
Well, there are only 2 to choose from technically, right? Like we have the Eagles
Right.
Monday night on week 2, and it is the Thanksgiving night game against the Patriots at home. Out of those 2, obviously the Patriots won at home. It'd be the first time that the Vikings are ever hosting on Thanksgiving. Obviously, they played a whole bunch of times, but you have the flashbacks. Maybe Justin Jefferson is going to have his very own Randy Moss game. Like have that like in front of a national audience. It'll be cool, and that's definitely one. Like I already texted my family. Like, well, it looks like we might have to host Thanksgiving this year. Maybe that get host Thanksgiving in our house and then drive down to US Bank Stadium for a nightcap or two. But I think that one's most exciting. I think we like at Philadelphia is a good litmus test earlier in the year, but like that's not one that I'm circling to travel to for a lot of different reasons, but most of them being that Philadelphia is
You're
Philadelphia
you're
and their
scared. You're
fans.
scared, Eric. You're scared.
Yeah, I don't like watching football and getting hit with batteries and getting beers chucked at me. It's just a personal preference. And like that's all. And yeah, that it like I yeah, I guess I'm scared of not having very much fun in Philadelphia. Like that just doesn't sound like a very good time getting but like going to Lambeau is one thing. Like you're gonna get crap from the fans. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
get harassed verbally, and like you're gonna get a couple drunk people probably saying like off color things. Philadelphia, it's like I might get randomly punched for no reason other than I'm wearing a purple shirt. Like that's just not my jam. So out of those 2, again, not just as a fan, but just as from a football perspective, it's really cool that the Vikings are hosting for the first time.
Mhm.
And I guess we should let's go. There's a couple like honorable mentions because they have a couple late kickoffs. Like the Cowboys game
Right.
is a 3:25 kickoff. Like that's almost a national game in the
That
first in week.
no, that doesn't count. That's not prime time.
Okay, it's
Prime
not prime time, but
time.
week one's going to be a 3:25, and those are both home games, the 3:25 kickoffs, which makes for really good tailgating. I'm just saying, like you get an extra
This is
few
an
hours to get you watch those early
insulting.
games. Oh, I know. Yes, out of the
This
2,
is
that's
an
definitely but
insulting schedule. 2 primetime games. One of the nationally televised game is in New Orleans. You're going to give me an early Monday night football game in Philadelphia, which nobody really wants to go to. And then the other primetime games are on Thanksgiving, on Christmas Eve, on New Year's Day. And who wants all that? Like, give me one holiday game. I don't need 3. I don't need 3.
that's just how
So,
that's how the weekends. Yeah, the Thanksgiving thing that's unique, but like when Christmas and New Year's are falling on the Sundays, it's just going to happen. That's the bummer
or
about
just
the.
at least give us a Monday game. How about a Thursday night game? We don't even get one of those. Give
Well,
us a Thursday
that's
night game late in the
we just
year.
happen to get it on the Patriot. Yeah, everyone gets their Thursday, but
I,
we got Thanksgiving.
I got to go week 2. I got to go week 2. That's the most exciting game. That's the game where I can see us coming off a big Packers win to start the year,
There you
1 and
go.
0. Boom. on Monday Night Football against a team that everybody thinks is going to be really good, against a team that was in the playoffs last year. That's the game where I'm sitting down, I'm clearing out my schedule. Maybe I'm not traveling to it. We'll get into that on the next question. But yeah, I want to win that game. I want that game bad. I want a W in week 2. Let's go
And
to the
that's
next
fair.
one.
And because if the Vikings
Yeah.
lose that week 1 game, then the sky would be absolutely falling after that Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty important too. Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, what is the best road game on the schedule for a Vikings fan to travel to? There's a lot of good choices this year, I think.
Yeah, this is another thing that I'm just not happy about. We're playing, of course, we got to play the Buffalo Bills in November. We got the Miami trip in mid-October. How about a Miami game in December? I would be
Yeah.
there all day long. Honestly, I'm probably gonna go to the Miami game regardless. That's the one that's circled for me. But yeah, I'm not going to Chicago in the deep midwinter. I'm not going to Lambeau Field until they build a dome. I'm not going to Landover, Maryland or Buffalo, New York in November either. So it's London or it's Miami for me.
I can't believe the disrespect you are showing for Bills Mafia. Like that's November is cold, yes, but it's doable. It like you can get some nice days in upstate New York in like it's early November too. Like that's middle of November, but like it's a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. And I want to see like that's one I just have circled because I want to see Bills Mafia in person. I want to see if it's as
Mhm.
crazy as everyone says. Like that tailgating scene must be absolutely outstanding because like everything you see like that's I still have that one circled. I don't know if I'd dare go. I think the worst one is pretty easy. The Washington. Like I have no desire to go that one. Like maybe if I wanted to go sightseeing with my kids or something like that beforehand, like go to the Capitol or something like that. But no, that the Miami one, yes, I get that. Like leaving Minnesota in December to go to Miami would be a lot better, but going to Miami in October is still pretty damn good. The weather's gonna be good, like that's Miami's gonna be awesome. That part's like you might be
Yeah.
leaving decent weather to get there, but that's cool with me. Of course, we already talked about the London one. That's a huge one. If you're gonna travel abroad and make a trip out of it, that's I'm definitely circling that one, looking for flights as soon as my West Ham tickets are available. See what the schedule is. See if I can do the double there. Yes, London, mate. CG Mac, he knows it. And the fun part is that the Packers play in London the week after the Vikings. So I have a couple of Packers friends who are like, so do we like meet on the Wednesday in between or something like that? You get into town right before I leave town, stuff like that. So there's always trips you could plan like that. But yeah, the Packers. I did the New Year's Day. I did the 10 degrees at kickoff Lambeau last year. I think I'm good on that one. That was
I
it's
told you it was crazy at the time.
yep. That I got to see the Sean show in person. That was just
You
icing
got
on the
to
cake,
see
man.
Kellen Mond's NFL debut.
Yeah, kind of. Gosh, that was I totally forgot about that part of it. I was just so enamored with Sean Mannion. And yeah, at Chicago, like I've been to Soldier Field a couple times. It's fine. It's cool. Like I don't want to go there in January. So those two are out for me. Um, I guess we never even like talk about going to Detroit. Is that do Vikings fans ever consider we
No.
play there every single year? I'm not sure if I know anyone that's like ever gone to Ford Field, like personally. Like I don't know fans that travel there. Like
No.
maybe a couple people I know, but like yeah. So that one's not circling. So yeah, I like the Bills one, the
No.
Dolphins one, the Saints. Those are the three that jump out to me for sure.
All right. So at least we agree on the Dolphins. We got
Well,
four
that was yeah.
minutes.
Okay.
Um, Eric,
Hey, this is
how
your
many
question. Yeah.
games? This is the first prediction of Viking Hot Takes in the 2022 season. How many games? What's the win loss record for the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, what I can tell you right now, and this is absolutely subject to change because we haven't seen any of these new players practice, and we don't know who's going to look like what by the time August. I don't think like there's nothing that jumps out at me at this schedule. It's like, oh, this is really super helpful, or this is like the today's news does not change my opinion of the record at all. Like this is a normal ass NFL schedule. Yes, we got the London, and of course that's the travel thing, and it's a little lopsided now. It's not 8-8 anymore, but there's nothing that's like, oh, this stretch is just that's unfair. Why did the NFL do that? Like this is the week 7 bye is a little on the early side. That's still doable. I'm basically. Can you tell I'm filibustering because I really don't know yet? But like I, I've this right now so far. I guess okay. This is what I'll say for now. Right now, this is absolutely open to interpretation and change. So far, the 2022 Vikings feel a lot like the 2021 Vikings. Like that's just so far. Like there doesn't seem to be as much change as we anticipated. But then you can absolutely point to, hey, we got a new coach, we got a new GM, and that coach and GM are going to make a difference during the season. And you can give, then the there's one more home game instead of an away game. So instead of 8-9, I'm going to say 9-8 right now. I think that's like I mean,
Okay.
we could do that thing. Do you want to do the radio show thing where you walk through each week? That's a win. That's a win. No, we won't do that because that's because
We
obviously
ain't
it's gonna
got
be rough.
time for
Yeah,
that. Yeah, we
we
ain't
don't,
got
and we're not
time.
gonna go. We're not gonna get 17 games in a row, right? Otherwise, we should just do that. We should put on the money line in Vegas for all 17
Yeah,
games, and
we can do that in July.
right,
We can do that in
yeah,
July. I'm going to disagree with you once again. Why are we disagreeing so much, Eric?
because the takes are hot. It's not
Okay.
lukewarm
uh,
takes.
the schedule 100% makes an impact for me when I look at this.
How
First
so
of
though? Like
all,
better?
all those fans who were scared about Jamison Williams, about Christian Watson, about our poor draft trades and how those guys are going to torch us, not happening this year. Okay, Christian Watson's coming to town week 1. Jamison Williams is coming to town week 3 if he's able to even run by that point, coming off that torn ACL. So, I think both those players will be factors, but I do not have the fear like I do about playing those teams later on in the year. So I see those home games in the division with the draft division trades. We have relatively less to be scared about because the rookies probably don't get up to speed that quick. So I think that's a good thing. I also look at the 5 home games on the back half of the roster, and that feels good to me. The one road game is again Detroit. That Jared Goff, that feels really good to me, and I think the Vikings can go on a run there. So I was going to say, Dave loved to say 8.5. I was in that range, but looking at the schedule, I think they can get 10. I think they can get 10 wins out of
Well, look at that. That it made you optimistic, so then it's good.
it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, last question.
All right. If you could flip the order of 2 games, which ones would you choose? This is a quick one. We can get it done in the last minute. Which 2 would you flip if you could?
Uh just for fun, I would flip week 14 and week 1. I would flip.
Oh, he's
Wow,
giving
wow,
us the
Dave.
That
Now you
was
had
Dave.
to cut me
premature.
off early. Just
Premature
like the
warning.
intro, everything is too fast today.
We're already a
As
fast enough
I
show, Dave.
as I was saying, week 1 and week 14, just give us 6 straight home games on the back half of the year and put the
That'd be
Lions in week 1.
Um, I want we already touched on this one. I want Miami in December. Give me the Jets. Switch me
Oh,
the Jets game and the Dolphins game, or one of those home games in the middle there. That's right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's it for me.
great.
Give me. Yep.
Well, hey, that's it. This is when the horn is supposed to be buzzing. Okay, we do appreciate you, Dave. You're a fantastic producer. None of this is possible without you. And we also appreciate all the fans in the comments, the fans who don't see a loss on the schedule. It's nice to get excited about when and where the Vikings are going to be playing, book those trips. Come join us
Absolutely.
next time on Viking Hot Takes. Eric, what you got?
That again, that we know the order, we knew the opponents, but it's just nice to start planning. This is like I feel like I have the whole schedule memorized already because I've been looking at it. It's just fun to know. It's like I'll look at the schedule for absolutely no reason 25 times between now and September. So this is the football season is real now. We have the players, we have the new players, we have the free agents, we have the schedule. It's still 4 months away, but dang it, we're getting close.
Yes, sir. Well, that's it, y'all. Until next time, Dave.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm a little rusty. We skipped shows this week and I'm out of shape. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and reviewing that schedule. And it's an interesting one. Darren and I will get more into it on Saturday for Two Old Bloggers. But I have a personal request. If there's anybody in the Sioux Falls area of South Dakota that's looking for an outstanding customer service person, send me a DM. I've got one in mind for you. I appreciate that. Guys, you did a great job. What do we say?
Skol Vikes.
Skol!
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a special shout out goes to our partners, The Daily Norseman, where the best Vikings content can be found, and to Lake Monster Brewing, home of the best beer in Minnesota. Skol, everybody.